The docking bay of the Ethon hummed with the familiar vibration of a ship preparing for deep space transit. Jace Rowan checked his flight harness for the third time, fingers trembling slightly as he adjusted the straps. At 22, he was the youngest pilot ever recruited into the Terran Xylith Joint Defense Fleet, and today marked his first mission alongside the legendary Captain Lyra Venn. He'd heard the stories, of course. Everyone had. The Xylith widow who'd lost her mate in the Surge Wars. The pilot who'd flown 73 combat missions without a single casualty on her watch. What the stories hadn't mentioned was how utterly terrifying she would be in person. You plan to stand there counting your heartbeats? Or are you going to run pre-flight diagnostics? Her voice cut through the bay like a plasma cutter through hull plating. Jace snapped to attention, his gaze immediately drawn to her silhouette against the viewport. Captain Venn's spacesuit was a modified Xylith design, sleek obsidian panels that seemed to drink in the light, with bioluminescent seams that pulsed a faint violet. Her species was humanoid enough to be unsettling, too familiar yet alien in ways that made his brain itch trying to categorize the differences. Yes, ma'am. You were staring. She turned, her helmet's faceplate still retracted, revealing features that were sharp and elegant, with skin that shimmered like oil on water. Her eyes, 3 of them, the third centered slightly above the bridge of her nose, fixed on him with an intensity that made him want to dissolve into the deck plating. Tell me, Rowan, is your mind always on what's inside my spacesuit? Jace froze. His face burned hot enough to melt Durasteel. I know, ma'am, I wasn't. Then perhaps you can explain why you've been staring at me since you arrived. She crossed her arms, head tilted in a gesture that was almost predatory. In my culture, such attention carries specific implications. Are you attempting to court me, pilot? Absolutely not. The words exploded from him in a panic. I mean, with all due respect, Captain, you're a legend and I was starstruck? The word dripped with amusement. She moved closer, her movements fluid in the low gravity. How very human. Jace swallowed hard. I apologize if I've offended you, ma'am. Lyra studied him for a long moment, her tertiary eye blinking independently of the others, a Xylith expression he hadn't learned to read yet. Then she did something unexpected. She laughed. It was a melodic sound, multi-toned, like wind chimes in a storm. Relax. Rowan, I'm not going to space you. She moved past him toward her fighter, trailing the scent of ozone and something floral he couldn't identify. But if we're going to survive what's coming, you need to understand something about working with non-humans. Ma'am? She paused at her ship's boarding ramp, turning to face him fully. We're not your entertainment. We're not exotic curiosities for you to gawk at. We're your comrades, your equals, and in this case, your commanding officer. Her voice softened, but the steel remained. My suit contains the same thing yours does, Rowan. A soldier trying to stay alive long enough to make it home. The words hit him like a physical blow. Shame washed over him in waves. I understand, Captain. It won't happen again. See that it doesn't? She ascended the ramp, then stopped halfway up. And Rowan? The reason I wear this particular suit design, my mate designed it for me before he died. Every time I seal myself into it, I carry him with me into battle. So yes, there is something important inside this spacesuit. His memory and my promise to honor it. Jace felt something crack open in his chest. I'm sorry for your loss, ma'am. As am I. Lyra's expression softened fractionally. But losses are why we fight. Why we fly. Why we trust each other with our lives, regardless of how many eyes we have or what color our blood runs. The bay's alert klaxon began its cycling sequence, 5 minutes to launch. Jace rushed to his own fighter, his mind racing. He'd been so caught up in the exotic nature of his new commander that he'd forgotten the most basic truth of military service. Underneath every uniform, every rank, every species, was a person who'd chosen to stand between the darkness and home. He ran his pre-flight checks with renewed focus, his fingers steady on the controls. The communications channel crackled to life. Rowan, this is Venn. Diagnostics? All green, Captain. Ready for launch on your mark. Good. There was a pause. And Rowan? For what it's worth, you're not the first human to make that mistake. You're just the first one brave enough to apologize for it. Thank you, ma'am. Don't thank me yet. We've got a Krell Incursion 3 systems out and they don't care what species we are. Only that we're in their way. The professional edge returned to her voice. Stay on my wing, follow my lead, and maybe we'll both make it back in time for the memorial service tonight. Memorial service? For my mate. It's the anniversary. Her fighter's engines flared to life, twin columns of blue-white plasma. I always fly on this day. It's how I remember that he died so others could live. So I could live. Jace's throat tightened. I'd be honored to fly with you, Captain. Then let's make him proud. Ven out. As they launched into the infinite black, Jace understood with perfect clarity what it meant to be part of something larger than himself. Captain Lyra Ven wasn't just a legend or an alien curiosity. She was a warrior, a widow, and a testament to the courage that transcended species. And inside her spacesuit was the same thing that filled his own. Hope, fear, duty, and the unshakable human or Xylith spirit that refused to surrender to the void. The stars awaited them, indifferent to their mortality. But together, they would carve defiance into the darkness, one mission at a time.